Ugh, prom.
You know, you could go. Ask somebody.
Oh, sure. Let me just pick a cheerleader from my speed dial.
And the love kick starts again.
He's so gonna ask you tonight. Don't jinx it.
Do you have a minute about prom?
You want to...
Carpool. Today's Scouting class. Last month, it's fighting in the cafeteria.
You clearly need a way to stay out of trouble. You're gonna help with prom or you won't graduate.
What?
What? Prom has changed since we were kids, man.
I'll say, it's like it's from a different planet.
I mean, trying to get a girl to go to prom is like asking a girl to marry you.
Well, apparently you've got to make a huge production of it now.
You do.
I had no idea that all that shit was involved. Not to mention, when I was in school, only seniors went to prom. You didn't have to worry about that shit when you were a sophomore.
Well, when I went to prom, a senior guy asked me, so it was okay. You know? That's how I got there.
What was his name?
Was it a great night?
Yeah. Well, what could I do?
Did you put out?
I mean, he brought out horses and flowers. I mean, I couldn't turn him down.
Did you take a picture where you walk in and you know they have the stars and everything, and you guys and your horse? Did they?
Well, like I said, it was a different
picture?
time back then. We used those horses to run out on. You know?
Yeah,
and like the idea of the same-sex couple coming in.
Speaking about a different time, I thought like usually if you asked a girl out to prom, you didn't have to get on your knees or anything like that. All you do is take down your pants with a sign at your crotch and just go, "Do you want to come with me to prom?" I thought that's all you needed back in the day.
Well, back in Leon's day, all you did was grab a chick by her hair and take her to prom.
Beat her over with a club.
And it wasn't prom so much as like a hole in the wall. You would take her in and impregnate her with your seed.
You guys are oversimplifying things. It was also based on the size of your club.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I got to knock over the head first.
It still is at some level.
Or she would knock you on the head and take you. But, you know, man, like in this movie, I mean, these kids, to get a chick to go to prom with you, you really do have to put on a horse and pony show. I mean, you got to they got kids in this movie who build houses and light up candles with them and then burn them down.
Yeah, they're doing elaborate, crazy shit.
You have to, your family has to employ a sitcom writer to come up with a scenario for you to use to ask a girl out to prom, that would come from an engagement episode of some TV show.
I'm sorry, there was writing in this movie? Well, I was going to say, even 2.5 Men seems to have better writing than any single line of dialogue in Prom.
Some people would consider it vandalism when you look at all the walls with "Will you take me to prom?" all this bullshit with the big question mark on every wall.
This is this point early in the film where you see the first guy who's asking his girl openly. And one thing, they've been going out since they were like 10, and he has to make this big deal out of asking her. It's like, wouldn't it be kind of assumed? But no, not in this science fiction world of Disney's Prom. But anyway, so it's kind of cute at first. Like, oh, he's this big thing. He lights up these big light up letters for prom and what each letter stands for in their relationship. You're like, oh, that's so cute. This giant, will you go to prom? And then you find out that every student in the school does some variation on that exact same thing. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
There was not a lot of imagination went into it.
I think there was one point where you saw an actual fucking spaceship coming down. I was like, was Parliament Funkadelic about to play here? Will you go with me to prom?
Oh, yeah.
What? Really?
There are people who have people playing music or guys lined up singing doo-wop or something, and then the guy gets down on his knees and like, will you go to prom with me?
It would only make sense if it was an artsy school where the guys are just trying to outdo each other.
Yeah, that would. I mean,
or if it was Glee where everything's like gay.
Exactly.
Most obnoxious fucking school ever.
I mean, because seriously, we're talking about back in the day. We're exaggerating, but back in the day, back in our day, back when men were men and just said, bitch, you going to prom, and she go. No, back then, if you were going out with a girl, this would confuse me about this movie. I mean, I'm not in high school anymore, have not been for many years, so I would assume that if a guy's already going out.
There's a restraining order.
That's what everyone else thinks, yeah.
Yeah, ever since the police told me, don't you come back around here no more. I don't really hang out with that crowd anymore. But then, girl, if you were going out with a girl, I thought it was already assumed that, okay, we're a couple, we're going to prom. Guys who are going out with girls, it's not good enough that you're dating them. You got to say, you got to pop the question. And you're right, all through the school, they want to remind you of that. It looked like the Riddler just attacked the school. There's question marks everywhere in the school, But
and then there's the one rebel in the entire school who says "fuck prom." What is that? Where I went to, at least 25% of the student body said "fuck prom." Why?
Yeah, but you know what?
All those people who said that, they all had long hair.
Man, I was
having school with long hair.
I was having sex on prom night, but it was nowhere near the school. I'll tell you that.
But you know what? That rebel is so fucking neutered that there's a scene where he sees the prom poster and these chicks are looking at the poster going, wow, who am I going to ask? And he just takes it off walks politely across the hall, and tapes it back up on the wall. I'm like, what kind of fucking rebel is that? Usually you fucking tear it off, wipe your ass with it, and go, fuck your prom.
And then you take it and then you stuff it in the chick's mouth who's standing next to you.
Exactly. But you know what? That scene right there pretty much sets up what to expect for the rest of this film, which is a teen fucking movie with like you said in the theater, with no fucking balls.
Well,
none.
I think what also sets up what to expect is all the John Hughes movies from the 80s that this decided it would rip off here and there.
Well, especially when you talk about that guy, the rebel guy, who is like, someone went, wow, what if Johnny Depp had played John Bender and we cross him with a brick wall?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. You got the point of the
No, that's what this movie is. I mean, it is comprised of a bunch of sitcom subplots that are told through characters that are types, which we can always deal with types, but types with no real personality or no real humor to them. I mean, it for most of the movie, that is, because I think that as the movie went along, I became less hard on it. I didn't think it was still that good, but it did change directions in a way that I liked. These plots that we're talking about, the biggest person in the movie is Amy Tiergarten. She's from Friday Night Lights, right?
I guess.
Yeah, I remember her just getting her fucking throat slashed and screamed for last time I saw her.
Yeah.
And so, looking at this, it's like, okay, you have her. She is the prom organizer. She's getting ready for the big
Student body
starry
president.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's student body president. It's her responsibility to bring Starry Night to life, which is their big prom night, their big theme for prom night. In the middle of that, you have all these different subplots that revolve around the oncoming prom. You have the couple where one girl's going to a different college and this guy's not going to go. What's going to happen with them? You got the guy who can't find a date at all. You got the kid who's like not a senior yet. He's under the shadow of all the other seniors. He finds this girl that he really likes. However, that girl is too busy being dreamy out over the villainous black guy in this movie who has another girlfriend. And he's like juggling between them both.
The only black guy in the entire film.
But the best looking guy at that school too. I got it. He reminded me of Billy, man.
You know what? I thought of Billy also.
Every time I see a good looking cocky ass black guy, because that's the deal with this guy. He is the asshole jock at the school who could probably get any girl in that school. Forget that he's the only black guy. Just more pickings for him,
Well, they don't even make him villainous per se. He's just kind of a high school kid. He's like, really?
He really is.
I'm being an asshole? Yeah, well.
And for this movie, you're right. Villainous
I'm
is
just
like
trying to get as much pussy as I can. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, but you're right. For this movie, villainous is still kind of soft. He's just a kid who's he's like any other good looking guy who's also a jock and popular. He got girls throwing themselves at him. So what's he going to do?
It's Disney. Come on.
Yeah, it's Disney. So he's not even that bad a guy. But it's
Disney's version of like a nerd is someone with freckles. Is that what this movie? Like anyone with freckles, they're like, wow, they're having trouble getting a date.
Well,
Disney's version of a nerd is a guy who gets fucking cast as a nerd and gets to hang out in the background with nothing to do.
well, even like the main girl, she's supposed to be like, well, maybe she's not all that hot. It's like she looks like a model anyway. That's their idea of the ugly chick. Give me a break.
But see, that's the deal with this film, man. I mean, you see things that are just so obvious, and they don't do anything to play upon those storylines to make it amusing, funny, or even slightly original. Because Amy Tiergarten she plays. I'm looking at the name here, Nova Prescott, and the guy that plays the rebel has got Johnny Depp Jr. That guy's the only reason why that guy's acting today is because he looks like Johnny Depp just shat him out his ass.
Was he acting at some point? Because I don't remember a single line of dialogue he uttered.
That's why I'm saying the only reason why he's in this movie is because he looks like Johnny Depp. Ain't no acting to it.
If he was just doing a still underwear ad, I would go, yeah, that guy's a terrible actor.
Oh yeah,
it's just like he could not even do that.
No, somebody found this guy and hatched him from an egg in Johnny Depp's basement somewhere because he's like a miniature clone of him. That's why they hired this guy. Like, can't get Johnny Depp. Don't need to. We got this kid right. He's not in a big movie. Ain't nobody else.
If only they could have gotten Johnny Depp for this role.
I never have.
It would have been a whole nother movie.
I've never missed Skeet Ulrich so much.
Yeah, and he even got a rebel named Jesse. And that's the kind of characters that we have in this movie. They either just play on type too much. Jesse's he's angry. He rides a motorcycle. He wears a jacket. He lives in this fictional world where girls are blind to the fact that he looks like Johnny Depp and are not throwing themselves at him. He's the loner. The principal even tells him, I like the principal sits him down and he's like, yeah, Jesse, you're going nowhere. He's like, I had a conversation with myself, principal, and I'm good with that.
A principal who
he spends the whole movie trying to be Judd Nelson.
Get that pile of junk off of school grounds. You can't ride that back here.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Wouldn't want any school property to get damaged.
You think it's funny when people's hard work gets destroyed?
It's just a bunch of dumb prom decorations. Oh, wait, no. Prom's ruined. The boys and girls of Brookside have been robbed of their right to stand around in a gym and drink punch. Put the flags at half-mast.
I got a better idea. You're gonna help her rebuild.
Him. Mr. Dunnan, I really don't
Little
think
Miss Sunshine's right. You should listen to her.
This prom isn't rebuilt to her specifications. You won't graduate.
You can't do that. You can't keep me from graduating.
You know what? I had a talk with myself about that. Turns out I'm okay with it.
Now, that is the deal with this film. We have all these types in the movie. And so as far as this Jesse and this Nova girl go, when the principal tells them, he's like, Jesse, you know what? You coming up here and making fun of this poor girl. Because what happens with what really starts to bring people together is that when Nova is like setting up for this prom, she has everything just right. And what happens?
The villainous
black dude brings his date in there and burns that shit to the ground.
Trying to barbecue in that little shed.
Now they try to make it sound like in the movie they try to make it look like it was an accident because it's filmed so bad because he uses this shed where all these decorations are and props as his way to propose for his date, the black girl,
the girl he's already going out with.
Yeah, girl, as a way to like say, "Will you go to prom with me?" They walk out of that shed like they just got through fucking. You know, they're smiling and grinning, and the fucking shed burns down. Yeah. You don't ever hear anything else about that.
No, not at all. It's the one plot point they couldn't afford to film.
Yeah, that guy doesn't. He suffers no consequences. He doesn't even look nervous throughout the movie. He's like, shit, I'm fucking everybody right now. I ain't got time to worry about a fire.
Not even the chick who you think, she doesn't seem so much of an asshole. Maybe she'd go, do you realize what fucking happened last night? They're gonna fucking blame me. That's gonna be on my permanent record. I'm screwed.
I mean, not at all. Seriously, the principal pull the guy in. He'd be like, Bill, this black guy, did you start this fire? Principal, look how many hoes I got. Do I have time to start a fire? Really? Please, get out of here with that noise. You're right, silly.
I'm too busy fucking.
Yeah, too busy fucking. But when that burns down, Jesse comes up because Jesse's so antisocial that he hates prom. He's the Grinch of prom. If he could get a dog in a sleigh and like burn all those decorations himself that night, he'd instill all those props. He'd do it.
Well, the movie wastes no time in letting you know he's just jealous.
Yeah, that's all. He hate, man, hater.
Well, it's funny because as much as you might go like, oh man, this guy's just he's pushing it too far. He's overcompensating, being all mad about prom. Then you get to what's her name, Amy Teagarden. She's so about prom. It's the most special night ever. If you can't do this, everything goes wrong.
Gee, I wonder why she can't find a date.
Yeah. Then it makes you go like, you know what? The rebel kid's right. This is stupid.
You sound fucking nuts when you talk about prom and oh boy, I can't wait for you to enter real life.
Yeah. If he wasn't such a bad stereotype, you'd be rooting him all the way. Because I was like, he makes sense. He's like, why does everybody make a big deal about this one night where you wear a gown, you come out and smile at each other, you strut across the floor, drink punch, and then you go home.
And since when are high school kids that big fans of Van Gogh, where two high schools are both having a starry night? I mean, is there nobody doing the Scream? Come on, that's what's going on in my high school.
I'm sure they cut out the scene where the plant from the rival high school came over and spied on them and took their theme from them. Starry Night. We'll put an extra star in there. We'll be better.
That'll be in the next Bring It On movie.
Yeah. The principal comes in because Jesse comes up making fun of all the destruction that happened. He's like, see, I told you this was stupid. The principal comes in like, you little smart ass. All right, you know what? I'm going to hook you up with this fine girl so later on in the movie, y'all can like make out and actually become, the couple, the main couple in this film.
You know what, Jesse? I'm going to punish you by making you hang out with this hot chick after school every day. What do you think about that?
And when you get them together, it's like, okay, Beauty the Beast, the Rebel with the Angel, what do you think is going to happen?
Typical shit.
Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson. And that is why this movie is so bland. It is so vanilla, that is vanilla with the sugar taken out. We have types in here. We got the Rebel, who really ain't that rebellious. I mean, they don't waste any time telling you like, oh, he's misunderstood. I mean, the very next scene, he's like, oh, no wonder he skips class. He has to pick up his little brother. He's really sweet. What is wrong with society?
He's the least rebellious rebel ever.
I mean, there's even a part of this movie where he gets his ass beaten.
He's super close with his mom and his little brother. I mean, he's just like really kind of an ideal kid.
And they never really explain why he's so rebellious, even after you see his family, because his mother comes in. His mother, you think, is his mother doing something to the family that's making them like be apart? But she comes in and she's like, hey, why don't you hang out? You know, I got the day off. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go catch some shifts, some work, so I won't have to be around you. And you find out his mother does nothing but work.
Now, why you gonna make me defend this movie? Okay. Only enough to say they do kind of explain the fact that he's mad because his father left.
Yeah.
He's got daddy issues.
But the thing is, but the problem with that is they don't even really go into that.
No, they don't.
They hint at it just a little bit, but they don't even really give you a real story with that, where there's points in the movie where you're like, okay, give me a reason why this fucking kid is so pissed off. Give me a reason to fucking, feel sorry for him.
The only thing that they
sympathize with the fucking guy.
He hates that the basement door is open where his father's stuff is.
Yeah, which that seems like it's a very big deal, and it seems like the movie's going to bring it back up at some point, which it never does.
But it won't, because it doesn't want any real drama. That's the thing about this movie. It's not even trying to go for any real drama. It wants the barest hints of it, only to suggest that these characters might have some depth. We're not going to explore those depths, but we're going to suggest that maybe they do. You can imagine your own thing later when you stick them on your Trapper Keeper notebook. But, they avoid any chance to have real drama. Even the things that look like they might be playing out where there's going to be real confrontations that are interesting, don't. They just take the easy but totally banal road with every last situation. I mean, like, the centerpiece of the movie is definitely, although there's lots of little subplot relationships going on that who gives a shit about. The main one, obviously, is the John Bender guy and the neurotic wannabe prom queen lady, which once again, this guy is such a bad actor. There's not a moment that they are doing their dialogue scenes with each other that feel like anything less than kids in a high school play.
Yeah, the more they talk, the worse it is.
Oh, wow.
And the neurosis that she actually displays, it's like, is nobody going to touch on this?
Nobody's going to call her on her
acting
bullshit.
like this is cute.
You talking about the Amy Teagarden character?
Yes.
Yeah, she's so. We were talking about. Look, they don't tell you, but this chick is crazy.
She is crazy.
She's insane. When you look at her card, she collects pictures and photos of herself and decorates inside of her car with it. We were like, this bitch is insane.
But it's almost like every girl in there. Like, you got the one really fine black girl who was dating the villainous black guy, and when she decides, okay, that's over, and she goes to take the pictures down, but on her mirror are 1,000. I'm talking about literally 1,000 photos of the two of them covering her mirror. And you're like,
oh yeah.
We were laughing. We were laughing at that scene only because I was laughing my ass off, only because how creative she got with those goddamn pictures. Where it's like you see an infinity picture of them together where I'm like, wow, okay, you're fucking nuts.
We should go ahead and say this black dude's name too. The actor's name is Devon.
Billy?
I feel so bad calling him Billy. This black guy. His name is Billy Brooks.
All I thought was, man, another fucking role Billy lost.
Yeah. The character's name is Tyler. The dude even has a handsome black actor's name, Devon.
You know, I was going to say Billy's too old for this for that role, but half the actors in this are too old.
No, I know. There's a good majority.
The one who can't find a date looks like a new John Cusack. Looked like he was 30 years old. Going around the high school.
The fucking Rebel actually looked like he was like in his 30s. Actually,
it was funny though. A lot of the worst examples were just extras in the school, because I'd be watching and there'd be extras walking by who were like 40, like not even in their 30s. It's like, wow.
I saw some of those students that I went to high school.
Some of the kids that play sophomores are obviously kids.
But
then when you get into the seniors, like, I don't remember the black girl's name in this movie. I'm trying to find. I can't think her name is
the black girl.
The hot black girl.
Yeah. The future hottie.
I think her name is Kylie Brandberry. The actress's name. The reason why I bring up the actress's name is because she's obviously 20-something years old. She ain't in fucking high school. I'm not even saying that's wishful thinking.
Or at least we were wishing.
Hey, look, I'm already wishing, but this, I know.
When they show the varsity party that they go to, that they're all supposed to be presumably juniors and seniors, and you're like, man, even kids in graduate school look younger than these guys.
They always keep that gap of kids who look like they should be in junior high or kids who look like they're in college. It never looks like anybody who's like 16 to 18 years old is real in these movies. But, you talk about the type of John Hughes type characters that we have. We are given these characters, but they're either characters with little personality or they're in a Disney movie, so they're not given enough edge. We have a guy named Rollo in this movie. He's obviously a stoner, but he can't. You can't like indicate that
can't emphasize that
marijuana has anything to do with this kid. No. So what did he come off as? Just a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he eats candy all the time. He's constantly eating Rolos.
Constantly eating Rolos.
If they had him sniffing glue, that would have made more sense. I mean, come on.
She's not going to have that.
His Scooby snack. You know, it could have been a bit more realistic if any of these girls after prom had to go get abortions. Something like that.
I was always waiting for that one fucking angle. It's like maybe Disney will have some balls where somebody will go, "I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do."
A suicide at the very
Something.
least.
I was
It's a
waiting for
Disney
the
film. What are y'all thinking?
I want suicide. I was fucking begging for
A girl
suicide.
who gets pregnant and then commits suicide. 'Cause you know what I mean?
See, now you're thinking.
No,
about it.
but you know, honestly, when I was watching this film, though, all I really thought though was like, wow, this is the greatest test reel for the future hotties of the film business. Where when these girls grow up, like 5 years down the road, I'm going to be watching their careers very closely.
I got to say that one girl that the nerd kid was into, but she was also sort of secretly dating a black guy. I was like, that girl is beautiful.
She is. She is beautiful.
I mean,
she's going to be the next Vanessa Hudgens.
14 years
I will
old.
say this right now: she will become the next Vanessa Hudgens. But hopefully
exactly
with some talent, if she really like pays attention to her art.
Yeah, I wish
I can't. Yeah, you can't. She's not on there. I already looked.
You ran through my database.
That's because you're looking for her nude pictures. The girl doesn't have Danielle Campbell. Is her name. She is a beautiful girl. I don't know how old she is. She's obviously still a teenager, but
she's gorgeous kid.
She looks like Disney has a way of like trying to find clones of other actors.
Yes,
you know, we got Johnny Depp here. Now they're trying to like find the next Vanessa Hudgens, and this girl looks just like Vanessa Hudgens.
She does.
And, I mean, Vanessa Hudgens she's barely out the gate. Vanessa Hudgens is like, damn, can't y'all let me fucking reach 23 or 25?
You're just waiting for the day when they
pictures. She
you're
blew
waiting,
it.
you're waiting for the day when they fuck up when they fuck up and start taking photos of themselves with their boyfriends. Where you're like, which one of these girls down the road is going to be that girl?
Gave you a chance to be a man, and you blew it.
Putting naked pictures up. The mouse don't like that.
But that's disgusting. Girls should be respected. And all that stuff.
You know what, man? Say what?
I'm saving my ass right now.
Is there a new person playing co-host?
You know, speaking of girls, the kid that was after that actress we're just speaking of, a kid named Nolan Sotillo, didn't he look like a young butch lesbian?
I don't know. I mean, he looks so much like a friend of mine that I would almost tell my friend, like, you got to see this dude because he looks just like you.
Is your friend a lesbian?
No.
See, I thought, okay, what's the guy who's
Look at this kid right here. Tell me that he
No,
doesn't.
he totally does.
Tell me he doesn't look like a young lesbian.
He honestly looked
Even more so than Lance Bass.
He looked more like that one guy who's like, yes, mister. Who's that guy?
Peter Lorre?
Peter Lorre. He looked more like a younger teenage version of Peter Lorre. Look up Peter Lorre and look at him. That's him, dude.
The one thing that's funny though is, all right, so his best friend, we grew up together, we're best friends, we're always going to be best friends. He's another freckled guy, so no respect in this movie.
Yeah.
But you know, he gets a chance to hook up with like the hot chick we're talking about, the young cutie Vanessa Hudgens lookalike, and his friend's like, man, what a dick. Are you kidding?
Like co-host said, that friend was afraid they're gonna break up that bromance there. Like I said, you have all these types of characters in here that we would see like in a 16 Candles or something, but the movie's very light. I will say this: as the movie progressed, I didn't mind it too much. Because it started to like steer away from Prom and actually kind of stay on these characters. And I mean, they built up the characters a little too late for me. But there were certain scenes that I did like in here.
Really?
I mean, there were certain parts. I mean, it's like I said, it's nothing that I'm going crazy over. It's nothing that I'm saying is good. But as the movie went on, I liked that it became more about these characters. I wish they had more to do with these characters. But there's a guy in here, the guy who can't get the date. Nicholas Braun is the actor's name. He plays a character named Lloyd who
plays John
around.
Cusack.
Even John Cusack played a character named Lloyd.
He's like a John. He's a cross between John Cusack and Ray Romano to me because he goes throughout the whole movie. Hey, you got a date for? Hey, you go to prom? Hey, you know, and it's like he can't ever find a date. The kid who's trying to go out with one of the girls who's dating young handsome Devon, he's getting pretty much the shaft the whole time. So they have a scene where they cross paths in the movie, and they have like a heart to heart talk. And I was like, you know, that's one of the sweeter moments of this film.
That was a sweet-ish moment. It was like, I know what you're talking about because at that moment, the two of them, I was like, didn't see these two characters talking, and they're starting to have a real conversation. And this is nice, and then it's over. It's
it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it just scratches the surface of like the one real moment in the whole film, and it just doesn't not go below the surface.
Well, at the point where you're talking about where they decide to, hey, you know what, maybe we should do something about these characters because I don't know who anybody fucking is anymore in this film because we're just going from one storyline to another, bouncing around so much that you even forget about that one John Cusack character who's looking for a date, because they show him prominently in the beginning, but they don't show him until like halfway through the movie. But at that point, you don't really care, and that's the biggest problem with these characters, is that so little time is spent on them really to understand who they are, and what you see is so paper thin that towards the end you just really don't give a shit
about anyone. That's why that scene specifically doesn't work for me because of that, because he's not even a character. Mm-hmm. He's barely a caricature. And when he's supposed to come in like some sort of like magical advice character for this other guy, you're like, what the fuck do you know about it? You're like giving this guy advice on how to do prom, and you still can't get a date?
Well, that's what he was doing.
I thought he was going to go, look at me. I'm your future.
He did say, he said, look, he pretty much just came short of saying, I'm an asshole loser, man. You don't want to be like me. Look at you, just saw me trying to get a date and get shot down. Do you want that to be you? No, go get what you want, but get shot down like me again.
Up until that moment, he only exists just to perpetrate a gag. Yeah. And he disappears for a long time. It comes back.
And it's a bad gag.
He's like Scrat from Ice Age. He's still trying to get that nut. It's like, all right, let's cut away from him and get back to the real character. There's that squirrel again going after that nut.
I thought you were going to...
dang it, he missed it again.
I thought you were going to say Screech, because that would have been more appropriate. Even though Screech does get more airtime than this kid does.
And clearly, and you can even see on the internet, does get a nut.
Every now and then.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, man, this is... I don't know. Look, if you're a kid who's like, I don't know, 13, 14, you're looking forward to prom, Go ahead, watch this. I mean, it'll get you excited instead of being like 19 and going back and saying my prom was never like this. I was drinking, fucking, smoking. I mean, this is nothing like my prom. And shit, you better be goddamn right. If I put that much trouble to ask a girl out, making props and sets, I'm getting something tonight. So as much as I don't like this movie, I did find a few sweet moments in there, here and there, to recommend to a very young crowd as much as a rental. That's about as far as I'm gonna go.
I think that this movie, I was willing to give it a break, and even looking at the commercials, the trailers, I thought, it could be some wacky fun. And if it goes that way, that's fine. I'm willing to go with it. But it barely tried. It barely tried on that level. It tried to have a somewhat serious story, and it met somewhere in the middle that was just complete failure. And I would almost I don't even want to recommend it to kids, because it's like, it's just going to give you the wrong idea of prom. It's either going to inflate your idea or make it look something worse than what it is. It's just, I don't see any good for this. I mean, I really wanted to meet it halfway and just say like, hey man, I understand you're for a certain audience. I'm like, no, I think you're actually dangerous for that audience. Stay away. To me, it's some old bullshit.
You hit the nail right on the head. At one point, halfway through the movie, Leon leans over to me and goes like, wow, I'm really missing Diary of a Wimpy Kid right about now. And we did not like that movie. So it's because at least that was trying. It was trying to have character and do something different. This was so utterly banal. It's beneath contempt in some ways, because you know what? I couldn't even hate it as a film. I was just like, there's nothing to make you even angry. It's because it's so desperate not to be offensive and not to go too far in any one direction. I mean, it's a television commercial of a movie. And the reason I wouldn't recommend it to kids who are of that age, who might possibly enjoy it, don't we shove enough banal, artless crap at them already without encouraging them to watch white bread shit like this? No, this is some old bullshit.
Damn. I was about to say, boy. No, but you know what? I completely agree with you. Honestly, yeah, watching this movie, I was just sitting there and I'm like, oh, I know I'm being a dick. Me and Corey were making fun of this movie the whole way. Maybe I'll find something redeeming, something to take back to the guys, to let the kids out there know, no, there is something here that you should see. No, not at all. Not for a second. This movie is about as interesting as those paper mache props they made for the prom. And when that shit went up in smoke, I was like, you know what? Who cares? You know what? There's somebody else is going to make the same bullshit, the same fucking prom movie a couple of years down the road. We're going to see another 16 Candles, and this one is going to be just about as forgettable as all those fucking copycat films. So yeah, I mean, if you are that one guy, the one guy Corey's talking about that needs to go see this film just to get an idea of what prom's going to be, wow. I mean, good luck, pal, because that's the only prom you're ever going to fucking attend. so, spend your money wisely. But no, I'm giving this some old bullshit, because just at the end of it all, who gives a fuck? You guys want to know some trivia real quick?
Okay.
So this is for all the kids. Okay, the director of this film, can anyone name a really popular short that this guy
George
actually.
Lucas in Love.
There you go.
Oh.
Can you
No
believe it's the same
kidding.
guy? Yeah,
It's the same- yeah,
it's
the
the same
director
guy.
is-
Well, you know what? George Lucas in Love came out a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to suggest that perhaps he's reached the point where he went. So that's not going to pay off, is it?
No. Hey, those George Lucas Love videotapes just aren't selling like that.
No, apparently
I
not.
say the director's name is Joe what is
Nussbaum?
Nussbaum. Yeah, he directed George Lucas in Love. He also did a movie I did not like. Carlisle liked it a lot. Sidney White, that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in a sorority house type thing. Which
So he's just falling into teen movie hell.
he's just like fucking. I got to get paid. Man.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to for everybody.
I'm even thinking about some of the things that they had no edge on when it came to other characters that was so obvious. Like the girl again, Amy Teagarden, she has a date at the beginning of the movie, but the
Who's
guy
obviously gay.
The guy's obviously gay, but
Yeah.
because when a Disney film, the guy, as you say, he looks like he just came out of a boy band. He
Yeah.
has a nice shirt on, a nice gay haircut. He's giving excuses like, "Hey, why don't we just carpool together to the
Now,
prom?"
that guy looked like he came out of the fucking Mattel toy factory. I mean, his
know.
whole body,
His
his
whole
whole
Ken doll.
skin was
Oh,
like,
he's like a-
whoa,
like a
he
young
was like
Ken
a Ken doll.
which is
Yeah, it was
kind
like
of,
creepy. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
saying
man.
about like the director, just needing to get paid. I can't criticize him. I mean, let's see. At midnight, we went to go see
Oh, shit,
Prom.
I was just going to say that.
And now here it is, 3-something in the morning. We're recording for it. And I hate to tell you guys this, but this wasn't as fun for us as you might think. We're not just doing this one for the love of
We're
it.
the assholes in the room still
we gotta
talking
get
about
paid.
prom.
Hey, just like the director of this movie.
Yeah.
That's what I
get
said.
paid.
Yeah, you gotta get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand you, Joe. We understand you completely. And you know what, y'all such a cold-hearted bunch of guys. I mean, y'all just don't understand what prom was like, do you?
Hey, look, they served haterade at my prom, so fuck them. I never even went to prom.
I'll be
didn't go
going.
to mine.
Look, the reason I'm soft on this movie, I think I have a better understanding of prom than you guys ever will. I'll be going to prom for my 20th year in a row.
Hey, some girls turn 18, Ralph.
I know.
And, this is Texas, so all you need is a 17.
I might as well warn you. Prom is coming up. I'll be asking you to bail me out again this year.
Yeah. We got to go check out Corey at his prom and see him on that fucking wall wearing his night goggles, fucking hanging out with all the nerds
And the mirrors on his shoes.
Yeah.
No, he's just driving a limo. Come on.
What to now, boss?
Graduation is for the parents, but prom's really just for us.
I just don't get it. All this for one night. It's just prom.
Prom happens to be fun.
Not for the guys. You gotta buy dinner. You gotta get the little flower thing.
Don't pretend you don't know what it's called.
Oh.
You were gonna kiss me.
If I'm about to kiss you, you'll know it.